So the day that I'm posting this is my 25th birthday, and I know that's not very old in the grand scheme of things, so who am I to be giving life advice? I don't know. I'm just in a really good place right now. I'm living my best life, and I'm only getting better. So these are some changes I've made in my life, some realizations I've had, some things I wish I had known when I was 20. So number one is that if you want to be in a happy, healthy relationship, don't complain about your partner to other people. I want to put a disclaimer that this does not apply to abusive situations. Opening up about those experiences can be a very important step towards leaving. Most common relationship advice only applies when both people are actively making an effort to be happy and healthy and have good communication. That being said, all relationship problems, no matter how big or small, should be discussed first and foremost with your partner. If something is not a breakup-worthy offense, then other people should never hear about it. And if it is a breakup-worthy offense, then you should break up. For example, say you're talking to your friends and you're like, oh my god, my partner's driving me nuts, leaving their dirty laundry all over the floor all the time. By saying that out loud to other people, or God forbid you're posting it on social media, you're doing a few things. A, most importantly, you're betraying your partner's trust. If you enter an exclusive relationship with another person, wouldn't you want to trust them enough not to say bad things about you behind your back? So why is it okay when you do it? Complaining about people behind their back hurts their feelings. And it amazes me how many people simply do not think about that. And B, building off of that, by complaining about your partner behind their back and making them look bad in front of other people, you are also making yourself look bad. If you're complaining to your friends about how terrible your partner is, even if it's something incredibly mild, your friends will think less of your partner. And if you continue to complain about them and continue to stay with this person, your friends will think less of you for that. I know that sounds harsh, but I've been the complainer. These are all things that I have learned. When I was in high school, I had a friend who told me she didn't want to talk to me anymore because all I did was complain about my boyfriend and it was exhausting. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a problem. And since then, I've been friends with many other people who complained about their partners all the time, and it is annoying and exhausting. So stop doing it. And C, yes, I'm still going. By complaining about your relationship problems without talking about it with your partner first, you're reinforcing those negative thoughts within yourself and building up resentment, and resentment is what kills relationships. Like, hey, maybe if your partner's leaving clothes all over the floor, like I said in the example, you should go to them and say, hey, I noticed that sometimes when you're getting ready in the morning, you sometimes leave your clothes on the floor. And I totally understand that you're in a rush and that it's easy to forget things like that, but clutter is very stressful for me, and I know it's important to both of us to keep our home clean. So do you think it would be helpful for you if we got a laundry hamper for the bathroom? And then you get a laundry hamper for the bathroom, and you don't spend 60 years in an unhappy marriage. I know that sounds really simple, but it is actually that simple if you're both making a conscious effort to have good communication. All you have to do is address all of your problems by saying, hey, I've noticed this, and that makes me feel like this. How do we work on that together? And then you work through the problem, and you're not miserable all the time, and nobody else ever needs to know that there was ever a problem. That's it. That's the secret to a happy relationship. I'm gonna have to make more tea before this video's over. Moving on to number 2, the sunk cost fallacy is bad, and your comfort zone might be hurting you. Those might sound like different things, but I have a larger point, hear me out. Something I said in a recent video is that habits are hard to break, especially if you think they're good habits, and that's really what I mean here. We as humans tend to stay committed to things that are familiar because familiar things feel comfortable and safe, even if they aren't. And the sunk cost fallacy, if you don't know, is the idea that the more time, money, and effort you put into something, the more likely you are to stay committed to it or even double down on it, even if it's not working out. It can be really hard to recognize this is happening and to snap out of it because it ranges from things that are really low stakes to things that can completely overhaul your life. Like maybe you go to a restaurant and they tell you it's gonna be an hour before you can get a table. And you're like, that's fine. It's gonna take everybody else like half an hour to get here anyway. And then your friends get there and you wait for a while and the restaurant tells you it's actually gonna be an additional hour on top of the previous hour. And your friends are like, that's fine. We've already waited an hour. We might as well keep waiting. That's the sunk cost fallacy. We can just go somewhere else and get drinks in like 15 minutes. Parking is free after 6. We haven't wasted any money. We don't have to keep wasting time. Or maybe you're in a relationship for 7 years and it's not a good relationship, but you stay because you've already been together for 7 years. You might as well just stay together. That's the sunk cost fallacy. And leaving the relationship would mean having to move house and start dating again. And it's much easier to be miserable than it is to completely start your life over. That's your comfort zone, hurting you. Just because you're used to something doesn't mean it's good for you. What a concept. I don't really have sound advice for how to deal with this one because I'm still learning. Maybe I'll come back when I'm 30 and I'll have figured it out. Mostly I think it's important to recognize the thought pattern of, I'm used to this. This is the way it's always been done. I've been doing it for this amount of time. I might as well keep doing it. It's easier this way. If you practice recognizing those thoughts, it does get easier to make the small changes. Big life changes are always going to be scary. That's normal. But it does get easier to say things like, we don't have to keep waiting in line. Let's just go somewhere else. Maybe I should get a new conditioner. This one gives me acne. Maybe I should stop eating meat. It makes my stomach hurt. You know, little things. Number 3, I regret to inform you of this. If you're anything like me, you're gonna hate hearing this, but having a clean space is good for your mental health. Really, all of the things people say are good for you, unfortunately, are actually good for you. Eating healthy, exercising, getting some sunlight, not scrolling on your phone all day, having a regular sleep schedule, they all help. But the thing that's made the biggest difference for me in my life is having a clean home. It's so terrible because when your mental health is bad, taking care of yourself in your home feels basically impossible. But man, I currently have a tidy, managed living space for the first time in my life, and it feels great. I definitely owe like 75% of that to my husband. He actually does his chores, which motivates me to do my chores and keep my side of things clean, because I don't have to do it all by myself. Not being alone helps a lot. If you're in the bad time right now, you're probably hearing me say this, and you're thinking, you don't get it. You don't understand. I can't do it. It's impossible. I do get it. I understand. If you are in the bad times, just focus on taking care of yourself to the best of your ability, and the taking care of your space comes after that. But once they're both being taken care of, they kind of feed into each other. It's much easier to shower and wash your face regularly if your bathroom is clean. And it's not just depression. There are so many mental illnesses that make cleaning a nightmare. Being a person is hard. My camera overheated, so I went and made some more tea. It's Earl Grey with lavender in it. It's absolutely fantastic. So my actual advice for this section is that you need to factor your mental illnesses into your cleaning plan. You can't expect yourself to just wake up one day and become a person who has their shit together. It's not going to happen, and you should stop beating yourself up over the fact that it hasn't happened yet. You are capable of improvement. You are capable of being a better version of yourself. But you will only ever be yourself. Something I've said a few times on this channel, because it's been like my mantra for 2025, is that things don't actually work if they only work in perfect conditions. You can't expect perfection. You have to learn to work with your so-called imperfections. So, the first step towards getting things clean is to prevent things from getting worse, which means you need to develop systems that accommodate your needs. The exact nature of those systems will depend on you as a person, and it might take some time to figure out, but there are resources out there. I've watched hundreds of ADHD cleaning hack videos. Whatever you're struggling with, you're not the only person struggling with it. You can find information. Do whatever you need to do to keep things from getting worse, even if it seems weird or stupid. As long as it works for you, that's what matters. The point of these systems is to alleviate mental burdens. For example, I have trash cans near all of the places that I like to sit, which means I don't have to waste time getting up every time I need to throw something away, and I also don't have to pick trash up off the floor. Maybe you need to eat off of paper plates for a while. I know people who have done that when their work gets really busy and they don't have time to clean. I did that when I lived alone and I was super depressed because it was either paper plates or a sink full of moldy dishes. Once you've figured out your systems and things are no longer actively getting worse, and you've lifted some of this mental weight, you'll have more mental energy for step 2, which is actually cleaning and making things better. And depending on where you're starting from, it's gonna take a long time, and it's gonna suck, but it is possible. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 19. I'm 25, and clean is a very new thing for me. It might take a long time, but it is So worth it. And I am living proof that it's possible to get on the other side of it. Of course, step 3 is continuing to maintain the space once you've cleaned it, but the secret is that steps 1, 2, and 3 are all happening at the same time, and it will continue to ebb and flow forever. We are all Sisyphus pushing the boulder of the fucking dishes and the fucking laundry. I'm gonna do laundry as soon as I'm done filming this. Number 4 is that your content diet can really negatively affect you and how you think and how you view the world. Basically, Schadenfreude is bad. I don't want this to sound like a toxic positivity thing. I'm not saying you should avoid all negative content or content that makes you feel bad. Like, reading the news makes me feel bad, but it's good to stay informed about what happens in the world. My point is that if most of the content you consume is rooted in negativity, especially in Schadenfreude, which is the delighting or finding amusement in the downfall or suffering of other people, if that's all you watch, it can make you an overall more miserable and negative person. One of the main reasons that I have become a better person, I've become a happier person, is because I cut way back on the Schadenfreude content. And it's not just me who thinks I'm a better person now. Other people have noticed and commented on it without prompting. I was awful before the age of 22 because I was watching toxic, awful shit all the time. And I don't anymore. And I'm much happier now because of it. When I was a teenager, I was obsessed with YouTube drama channels. I knew everything there was to know about all of the YouTube dramas. I used to watch a lot of commentary channels, and I don't think those are as inherently negative as watching drama channels. I still like some of those channels, but even though those videos are more humorous and lighthearted, they're still ultimately rooted in Schadenfreude because they're taking something and making fun of it as the point of the video. The hardest type of negative content for me to quit was rant reviews for books. I have watched countless, multiple hour-long videos of people just tearing into a book. And I know I keep saying it, but it's just Schadenfreude, especially when it's multiple rant reviews of the same book. I already know the book is bad. Why do I need to watch more videos about it? Schadenfreude, in a twisted way, watching these intellectual book reviewers making fun of a bad book made me feel better about my own writing. And that's a terrible mindset to have. So I've stopped watching those videos. And those are just my personal examples of Schadenfreude content. There is so much media that is rooted in enjoying the suffering of other people. I know people who like to watch dash cam car crash videos. Most reality TV is just watching people suffer for entertainment, or there's like true crime. There are actual studies that show that watching a lot of true crime is bad for your mental health. It can be beneficial for some people who are like working through their trauma in a safe environment. It just depends on the person. And that's kind of what I'm saying here. None of these types of content are definitively bad for everybody. I'm not telling you to stop watching all of these things. I'm just suggesting that you should think about what you watch and to pay attention to how you feel when you watch these things, because it is affecting you, whether you're paying attention or not. So start paying attention. Number 5, this is my last one, and it's a simple one. You can still enjoy doing something even if you're bad at it. We use the word professional to describe something that's well made, or something that's made by someone who is qualified to make that thing. And we use the word amateur when something is poorly made, or when the creator is still learning. It's just a hobby. But the word amateur means you're doing something because you love doing it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I am a creative person. I have always done a lot of creative things, and I love doing them. But I've always wanted to be a professional. Whether that's a writer or a YouTuber or whatever, I wanted to be professional. I wanted it to be my job. I want the things I make to be good. But there's always that voice deep down that's like, I'm not good enough. I'm never gonna be good enough to make money doing the things that I like to do. But the reality is that people who are bad at things can still be successful and make money doing those things. So you might as well try. That's it. That's the advice. It doesn't matter if you're good enough. You might as well try. That's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm doing on this channel, in this video. I'm trying. If you've made it to the end of this, thank you for listening to me ramble. I probably won't make many videos like this in the future. I might make some longer talking videos occasionally, but mostly I do reading vlogs and bake and do crafts. I just wanted to make this video because I feel like 25 is the last big birthday we get before it's all just decades. Like we get 25 and then it's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and I was just feeling kind of philosophical. I wanted to share. Happy birthday to me. That's all.